It's your boy Amreezy, and I'm back with another Road to Sorare Boss episode where we follow my journey in the wonderful world of Sorare and we talk all things Sorare. So where are we in the world of Sorare? It is still Christmas period for Sorare. The advent calendar of Christmas is here on Sorare, and boy have I got a juicy amount of raffle tickets. Looking forward to seeing how far my 3 raffle tickets go, maybe 4 raffle tickets now. So enjoying that. I've not really been able to take advantage of the Sorare advent calendar because I've not bought any cards during when they've had their buy one card, get possibly a 20% chance of another card. I've not really taken advantage of that. I do have a tiny bit of money left and maybe could gift myself a Christmas present this year if the Christmas advent calendar on Sorare gets really exciting around Christmas. If they have like a really good offer, like buy a card, I don't know, definitely get another card for free, or maybe it's a higher percentage chance, like 75% chance of getting a card. Even if it was a 50% chance of winning a card, I might be tempted to buy a card or two at the auction, especially as I've done some crazy business this week. If you remember last week's video, I was very excited because I had a good weekend. I won $25 in cash, the best weekend I've ever had on Sorare. The weekend just gone, however, the opposite weekend. Nothing won, tears, crying, pain, back to usual. So I spent some of my cash that I won the previous weekend on some strange Barcelona cards and a few other cards that I'll show you later in the video who I've bought. But basically, I'm playing on a kind of little bit of a budget, not a massive restricted Road to Glory style budget, but a bit of a budget. So I can't exactly go out and buy, well, I could, but I'm choosing not to go out and buy the likes of Saka and, all of the best hit, Bellingham, Mbappe, all of the best scoring players. I kind of want to work my way there. And I've got an idea with some of these Barcelona cards. I'll get into that later. We'll get into all of that later. But let's start off this week's video, as we always do, by looking at how I did last weekend in what was not as successful a weekend as the previous weekend. Let's look at the disaster zone. Okay, here we go. Let's get the disaster zone evaluated. This is how I did last weekend in Sorare after such a good weekend the weekend before, where I won like 6 boxes and some cash prizes. This weekend was a miserable weekend, starting off with a grey lineup because I ended up transferring one of these cards after Lavia was a DNP. I did get Lavia in season for Chelsea because I wanted him to just to go along with my Chelsea cards. I don't have a Lavia. I'm regretting buying the in-season version now because it seems like this season isn't going to be as breakthrough of a season for him as I thought when I got that card a few weeks ago. I still think he's going to play a lot of games. I just think, next season will be Lavia's season. I just think this season he's going to be eased into the team. And some weeks it will be Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez playing as the holding midfielders for Chelsea. And I think for easier fixtures or when he wants to rotate the team a little bit, he'll play Lavia and Caicedo and play Enzo further forward. So Lavia's going to get plenty of games. I just don't know if I should have bought the in-season. Maybe I should have bought the classic instead of that and saved myself a few pennies. So I've got Lavia transfer listed now. And I'm going to try and possibly sell him for roughly what I bought him for and try and get the classic version for a bit cheaper, just because I don't see me playing him in many in-season lineups because I'm not fully certain any week he's definitely going to play. So a slight mistake there. So that team got ruled out. There was a special lineup with Santiago Jimenez. Let's just talk about the good players. There's lots of trash players like Dwight McNeil with a 0 didn't play. Seems like he's injured. The Burgos boys didn't deliver, but Caston Miner in goal is still a reliable contender goalkeeper for me. And Santiago Jimenez is back from injury, back scoring goals, hat trick. So with the transfer window coming up as well, he could be moving. He could move in the next summer. We'll see. If he doesn't move, he's a solid challenger striker. Now, as I've been saying in the previous videos, I don't really go for Challenger Classic anymore, but I do have a few good Challenger cards like Santiago Jimenez. So he'll be used probably mainly now for special competitions like he was this week that didn't deliver mainly because Dwight McNeil didn't play. If he'd have played, we were 12 points away from a reward. So we're going to stick with our special strategy. This special strategy did win a box, even though Ramsdale didn't play, just because Big John Duran is the man. Totti, a surprising good score from a Wolves defender. And then okay scores here. Premier League in season, where it's our baby. We were in Division 1 and we took a bit of a gamble. We were like, we're in Division 1, let's go for this. We went for it and we got relegated. So Division 1 in season Premier League is very hard. But we had to go for it. If Evan Nielsen had done a little bit better, there were chances when I watched the Bournemouth West Ham game because I had a West Ham Classic stack in here, and I had a Bournemouth in season, a lot of Bournemouth in season cards. So I was watching that game closely, and there were so many times when Bournemouth were attacking, particularly when it was Semenyo down the left wing. There was just so many times when Evan Nielsen made great runs and Semenyo was so selfish. He wasn't passing to Evan Nielsen. He was trying to beat the defender, losing the ball, or he was beating the defender and getting a shot outside the box in when Evan Nielsen was open. So I think on another day, Evan Nielsen could have got a really good score here. He didn't. No one was passing to him. He had like 1 or 2 chances that he missed. That was very frustrating. Zabani, quite a low score from him. He's been giving some really good scores lately. So I just never know what to expect with Bournemouth. They seem to be, when they have an easier fixture, they seem to be not quite there. They're not motivating themselves. But when they have a team like Arsenal or Manchester City or Chelsea, when they play Chelsea, they're really up for it. So I don't know what to expect with Bournemouth. I've got lots of the best cards in season, so I've got to keep backing Bournemouth and Forest and Wolves. There was some comments on last week's video saying to sell Wolves cards, and I just think with Wolves, have just appointed a new manager. I'm not going to be selling any Wolves cards right now, even though it probably does make sense. It's just they've got a new manager. He's going to be his first game this weekend. What if he's a miracle worker? It's unlikely, and it's probably going to take a few weeks, but you just never know. I'd really be angry at myself if I sold my Wolves cards now and this new manager just clicked with the players instantly. They started winning. They started pushing up the table, desperate to survive. You never know. So, spoiler alert, I've actually bought an extra Wolves card. Instead of selling Wolves cards, like I probably should, I've actually bought another one this week, so I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, Cunha, let's talk about Cunha for a quick second. Cunha might be suspended now. As of recording today, I'm recording this on Thursday. It's not yet been revealed, but basically after the game against Ipswich, he attacked a member of the Ipswich staff and probably is going to face a suspension now, which is really annoying because he's probably my best in-season card I have. He's definitely my best in-season card that I have. Even in an out-of-form Wolves team, he's putting up scores like 94. And now he's going to be suspended, which is painful, really painful, when he's kind of my key in-season card. But that's life. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the suspension... I do think he'll get suspended. The decision hasn't been announced yet, but I can't see him not getting suspended after what I've seen. I just hope it's a short suspension and not too long. So Cunha did well. Palmer did well. Palmer as well had a bit of a knock in the game. Went off, I think, as a substitute. He's a little bit of an injury doubt for this game coming up. I'm hoping it's not that serious. There's not that many rumours, but a slight doubt with Palmer now. Hudson-Odoi, good score from him. Everyone else, bad scores. Milenkovic scored for Nottingham Forest, which was nice. Gibbs-White, an assist. I did watch this game as well. I'm watching all Nottingham Forest games now, it seems. They're just my second team, it seems. Gibbs-White was very good, very lively. Him and Elliot Anderson. I wish I had an Elliot Anderson card, but his price is going ballistic at the moment. They're both very creative midfielders. And it does mean that Chris Wood just has such good service at the moment from Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson and Hudson-Odoi that Chris Wood, great option. He's either going to give you a bad score like a 56 or he's going to score. So he didn't score this week, so I didn't do so well. But he can score. On his day, he can score. The classic team, we backed Chelsea. Jadon Sancho, by the way, a really, really good vein of form for Jadon Sancho. Didn't show it in his Sorare score this week, but with Chelsea playing slightly more wing backs occasionally, Sancho fits that formation really well. So hoping for a big season from Sancho. Jackson goal, nice to see. Enzo Fernandez continuing his great scores. And Cucurella doing what Cucurella does. A good thing in the game and a bad thing in the game. The good thing was he scored. The bad thing was he got sent off. West Ham boys got a good score away at Bournemouth, 1-1. But in terms of Sorare, nothing. And Nick Pope's injured for Newcastle. Before this game week, there was a kind of he's 50-50 to play. We think he's injured. Now we know he's definitely injured. It's Dubravka season. If you've got Dubravka, happy days. It's going to mean I'm going to be able to play less lineups now because Nick Pope was a kind of key classic Premier League goalkeeper for me. But now that he's injured, it means one less lineup in, probably not in season because I'm going to prioritize in season, but maybe one less classic lineup or one less champion lineup. Then we had some warm-up lineups. Under 23 lineup did okay because Captain Madueke got an assist, and Madueke is another player looking... It's 50-50 with Madueke. He's either looks really good and scores on 100, or he looks really quiet and gets subbed off at half-time. You just never know what you're going to get. But he delivered this week and kind of saved a relegation from this Division 2 under-23 team because the rest of the boys were not up to scratch. And that is the headlines from last week. Let's take a quick look at the cards that I've bought with my cash winnings from the previous week. What is happening here? Computer's crashing. Here we go. So, new cards. The last card that I showed you that I bought were these cards. Leif Davis, I think, was the last card that I showed you that I bought. Since last week, I bought 4 new cards or traded 4 new cards. The 2 Barcelona cards and there's 2 Premier League cards. Malo Gusto, a little bit like Lavia, how I said I want to just complete my Chelsea collection, make sure I've got all the options. I think Gusto is a really good player, and with Reece James forever being injured and having another injury at the moment, Gusto should be Chelsea's starting right back, or he can even play left back. So I like Gusto. I got him at a good price, traded him for a classic card I wasn't going to use in Challenger, and happy with Gusto. That's my classic card. The 3 in-season cards are João Gomez. Like I said, I bought another Wolves card, even when I should probably be selling Wolves card. I've just been watching a lot of Wolves lately, and I really like João Gomez. I used to have a classic João Gomez card a while ago, but I traded him, I believe, for this Sarabia in-season card, maybe, to improve my... Was it? Ugh. Was it this Sarabia card? No, that was some other cards I didn't want. Okay, I did trade a João Gomez a while ago. And since then, I've been watching Wolves a lot with my in-season Wolves, going, oh, I wish I had a João Gomez in-season instead of that classic I got rid of. Not because he's been scoring that well, but just because I love how he plays. I love his energy, box to box. And I think he's too good for Wolves. And I think he's, on his day, we can see he can score well when he scores. A 49 against Everton, not so bad. 56 is here. He's young. He's 23. He's still an under 23 card. So I think he's good for under 23 card when Wolves have a good fixture. And I'm just again hoping Wolves' new manager hits the ground running. He's 91p. I think even if it doesn't work, it's a 91p. I don't feel like it's a massive gamble, and I love the design of the card as well. It's the winter design, along with the 2 Barcelona cards that I bought. They're in the winter designs as well. I just love how they look. And my Barcelona cards are quite interesting. It's a new strategy I'm thinking of eventually rolling out. I think I want a champion team and possibly a La Liga team, possibly Barcelona. I really like this generation, this Barcelona team that they have. There's a lot of good young players in this Barcelona team that I think, with Barcelona's financial troubles, I think they're either going to have to sell the likes of Torres and Garcia, or they're going to have to play them and not buy. So Barcelona have Lewandowski as their striker and Torres as the backup. And as the backup, Torres has been scoring well. He's been coming off the bench and scoring goals. Didn't do so well here, but he got a start in this game and he's come back from injury. And I read a lot of interviews with Torres and the manager saying that Torres feels like this manager finally believes in him, that he's going to start his Barcelona career properly now. And I remember Torres at Manchester City. I remember him playing for Spain, and he's a really good player. I really like watching him. Same with Eric Garcia. I watched him last year in Girona when Girona were this very exciting team of, whoa, look what they're doing. Garcia was a solid part of that defense. And I always remember thinking, I am going to get a Garcia card eventually. His price was too expensive last year, and I wasn't playing in that division or region. But with the transfer window coming up and Garcia and Torres being really good players, but not quite first team at Barcelona, I think they're either going to be first team at Barcelona, Torres is going to get more chances, or keep scoring off the bench, so he could be a good option, or they sell him because they need the money, or next year, Lewandowski's 1 year older and Torres, they can't afford to buy a new striker, so they just have to give Torres the chance. Same with Garcia. Maybe they can't buy an elite centre-back, but the manager thinks, well, if I just play Garcia, he's a young centre-back, he could become that guy, and that saves us some money. So I'm excited about this Barcelona collection. The final reason why I bought 2 Barcelona cards is I'm preparing for next season as well. And I think I could treat myself at the end of the season to a Lamal card. And if I get a Lamal card for basically classic next season, I'm going to want the collection bonus around him, because everyone's going to have, not everyone, but if I'm in a higher league, lots of people are going to have a Lamal card. If I can have a Lamal card with collection bonus score, I think that's going to give me an edge. So, sorry about that cough. What I'm going to be doing towards the end of the season is looking to pick up the cheap pieces of the Barcelona collection. And what I'm going to be looking to do before the end of the season, while there's still some playing time, is picking up cheaper cards that could play and gamble based, because I might try and get a Lamal card 6 weeks before the end of the season, but play him as in-season Lamal in the last 6 weeks of the season. So that gives me quite a few weeks before then to just prepare a Barcelona stack around him. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford Rafinha, but there's the rest of the team are very affordable. And if you can just work out who... If I can buy Garcia and Torres now, maybe towards the end of the season, one of them's in the first team. One of them's playing with Lamal. So that's kind of my loose strategy around them. The other thinking is maybe they just gambled for the January transfer window. Maybe the 2 of them leave and I can sell them. Or they move to another champion in-season team. And because if they move, they're going to be playing first team football for half a season. So I'm looking at making a champion in-season team, basically, with the Premier League cards I can't use that week and little bits and bobs here and there. I'm starting with Barcelona, but I've got my eye on a few other teams. And I'm going to maybe try La Liga just because I've started with 2 Barcelona cards. I also really like this Barcelona kit. And the cards look nice just from a purely vanity reason. I like how these Barcelona cards look. So yeah, those are the new cards that I bought with the thinking behind them. Let's now take a look at my lineups for the coming weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. These are my lineups for game week 37, which is December the 20th to the 24th. There is a midweek set of fixtures currently live, and I do have a Chelsea European stack. Jorgensen, Disasi, Nkunku, Kukureya, who I think might play because he's suspended for the Premier League game. So I'm thinking maybe he gets a game in Europe because he's not going to be playing in the Premier League. And Chelsea don't exactly have a lot of left backs. And Dewsbury Hall. Now, as it's towards the end of the group stage, these 5 players might not all play. So I'm not that optimistic. It does seem lately that Enzo Maresca has been playing like just mad youngsters in these Conference League games now. We've gone from Chelsea's B team playing in that. Now it's Chelsea's C team featuring some under 23s. So let's see who plays. Maybe those 5 play and I do okay in that midweek league. But now we're going to look at my teams for the weekend coming up. And Fulham Southampton is a game I'm targeting in all of my warm-up leagues. So the European warm-up league, Ferran Torres is straight in the lineup. Here he is. Big Ferran. And then for Fulham cards, because they've got Southampton at home, which should be a really good game for Southampton. I just called Jude Bellingham a Fulham player. Crazy. 3 Fulham cards and Jude Bellingham. Bellingham in, by the way, because who they got? Vinicius is injured. He's not going to be playing. So I just find that when Vinicius isn't playing or Mbappe's not playing or when the pressure's on Bellingham, I feel like he does better. When he's the main man, like he was last year at Real Madrid, he does well. So Vinicius is not going to be playing. So that just makes me think Bellingham's going to be more up for that game. Then we've got Premier League in-season lineups where I've got really tricky fixtures this week. I've got injuries, and I've got goalkeepers who aren't playing. So a reduced set of lineups for me this week. Number 1 lineup, I'm going to be backing Nottingham Forest. They've got the best fixture. Out of Forest, Bournemouth and Wolves, they have the best fixture / are in the best form. So I'm going to be backing the 4 Forest boys and Cole Palmer, who's 25%. All of the Chelsea players are at 25% right now. I think it's because Enzo Fernandez is at 25% as well. I think it's because Chelsea have a European game in a few hours, and maybe the Sorare data predicting thing thinks they might play, and they'll update this number after that game. When they see Palmer and Enzo Fernandez don't play that game, maybe they'll go up, or who knows. But I'll keep an eye on this. My lineups could change because we're still waiting for news on Cunha, if he's going to be suspended. If Cunha isn't suspended, obviously Cunha goes into one of these lineups. But with Cunha out, he obviously won't be in them. So I'll back Forest against Brentford away. I'll back Bournemouth away at Manchester United. So it's all away fixtures. Even Palmer is away. I'll back Bournemouth and then Chris Wood here. And then my third Premier League in-season team is going to be a mixed bag. Wolves are playing Leicester away. It's technically a good fixture, but with Wolves having just sacked the manager, you don't know what they're going to be. My inkling is to be optimistic and think they're going to be desperate. Even if the manager hasn't settled in yet, the players are going to be desperate to impress him. They're playing for a place in the team. So I'm playing 3 Wolves cards here. I would like to play Cunha alongside them and possibly a defender, but I just think Leif Davis at home to Newcastle. I bought Leif Davis last week. I've got to give him another chance. I want him to burst into life at some point. And Newcastle at home, who knows? It's Christmas. Anything could happen. Teams are going to rest players as well. During the Christmas period, teams are going to rest players. And I don't think they're all going to start. There's going to be surprise DNPs. There's going to be surprise substitutions. And maybe Newcastle think, okay, Ipswich is a game where we can rest some players. We play our other players for the Boxing game afterwards. Who knows? But for now, I'm going to gamble Leif Davis. João Gomez, new signing straight in with Johnston and Larson from Wolves. And then Estupinan. I had no idea what to expect with West Ham. They did look good against Bournemouth last week. They should have probably beaten Bournemouth. Bournemouth was slightly fortuitous to get a draw, maybe. So with that in mind, I'm going to be backing West Ham heavily in my classic team with Enzo Fernandez. And then if that doesn't work, Estupinan's in this third Division 4 Premier League in-season team. And then the other Premier League Classic team is in Division 4. I don't think this team's going to do well because Jorgensen I don't expect to play. Sanchez looked really good, not really good, but Sanchez maybe gave one of his best performances of the season in Chelsea's last league game. So I don't think Jorgensen will be playing, but I don't have any other Premier League goalkeepers, so I'm just throwing him in this team in case these 4 smash, and maybe we can scrape a box with a DMP goalkeeper. Kovacic back from injury. Man City need players. Maybe he comes back in the team. Sancho, Madueke, Gusto should play that game. Should do well. So they are my Premier League lineups. Then my warm-up league, I'm going to be going for a full Fulham stack with Jimenez as my limited card. Free cards are going to be other Fulham cards. I think this is a nice lineup. Robinson, Leno, Smith Rowe, Iwobi, and Jimenez against Southampton at home should do well. Then we've got some other warm-ups. In Champion, we've got some warm-ups. In Challenger, we've got warm-ups where we're backing Benfica. In Contender, we've got some warm-ups where we're Contender, we're doing a classic team. We didn't do a classic classic team in Contender last week. This week, however, we're going for it. We're not going for any specials this week. There was a special that I was interested in where you pick strikers or something, but no, it was a capped league. We target score, hit the target, where if you get 300, 350, or 400, you can do well. I just didn't have the lineups for this, and I think it's harder than it seems. Yeah, you get $5 in credits if you hit 300, but I think that's harder than it seems, and it's a capped. There's a 250 cap, and I tried quite a few formations, quite a few variations of how I could hit 400 with that cap, and I think with my goalkeeper struggling, I had to pick either Premier League in season or the special, and I wasn't feeling the special this week, so I'm not going to be going with that. I will, as we get closer to the deadline, play around with the lineup, see if there's a way I can get a special lineup out there. It would probably involve taking my Contender goalkeeper, who's Kasten Miner, and putting him in that lineup. The problem is, he's got an L15 of like 60 something. So he already takes up a lot of points from that team. So instead, I'm going to be going for Division 1 Classic and just hoping I really go for it. So I've got my Burgos boys who've got a good fixture. I've got my goalkeeper. Luca Itta has had 280 scores in the last 2 weeks. So hoping he can continue. And then Kai Cleffish, we never know what to expect from him. He's had a few off weeks, but he's got an okay fixture this week. He's got 18th in the table and they're 10th. There's all the tactical insight I'm going to be doing on that game. Then I'm going to be another warm-up and then some classic lineups. Under 23 lineup, my under 23 goalkeeper isn't playing this week. So I'm just going to be playing a warm-up under 23 lineup with Jackson in there with some 4 big cards. So those are my lineups for this weekend coming up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. As always, guys, I appreciate the likes, the subscribes, all the support people have been giving me on the channel since I've started these videos. Good luck with your coming game weeks. I'll see you next week. Peace.